What happened to Cheap Trick?
Fuse, a Rockford, Illinois-based band started in the late 1960s by bassist Tom Peterson and drummer Rick Nielsen is where Cheap Trick got its start. When the group's 1969 Epic record failed to get any interest, they moved to Philadelphia and changed their moniker to Sick Man of Europe. After a fruitless 1972 European tour, the band made a 1973 return to Illinois. Soon after arriving back in Rockford, Nielsen and Peterson changed the name of their group once more. This time it was to Cheap Trick, and they also brought in drummer Bunny Carlos and singer Randy Zeno Hogan. The following year, Hogan was let go, leaving place for former folk singer Robin Zander to join the group. Between 1975 and the release of their debut album in 1977, Cheap Trick performed more than 200 shows annually, while occasionally serving as the opening act for acts like The Kinks, Kiss, Santana, AC/DC, and Queen. The band developed a strong archive of original songs that would eventually make up their first 3 albums during this time, and they also honed their energetic live performance. In 1976, Cheap Trick got a record deal with Epic, and the band's self-titled debut came out early the following year. Even though the song did well in the US, the charts did not list it. However, the band experienced enormous success in Japan, where the album immediately achieved gold status. Later that year, the group released In Color, their second album. It shied away from Cheap Trick's harder rocking style and instead emphasized the group's melodic prowess with slicker production and more subdued compositions. The album entered the US charts as a result of their ongoing touring, reaching the top position of number 73. However, it became another gold seller in Japan where the musicians were already practically household names. Within 2 hours, their Japanese shows started to sell out and they filled the spacious Budokan Arena. The Cheap Trick performances at Budokan were taped for a potential live album, but it wasn't released until the group's third album, 1978's Heaven Tonight. The band's first top 100 single, Surrender, which reached number 62, was a result of their third album, which successfully combined the loud, rowdy energy of their debut with the hook-filled songwriting of In Color. The band's lively, contagious live presentation, however, was recorded in the live performances on At Budokan from 1979, which led to their commercial breakthrough in America. The album spent more than a year on the charts, reaching its highest position at number 4 and ultimately selling over 3 million copies. Their first top 10 success was a live rendition of I Want You to Want Me. Later that year, the group released Dream Police, their 4th studio album, which had a similar aesthetic to Heaven Tonight. With sales of over 1 million copies and the introduction of the top 40 smash singles, Voices, and Dream Police, it also followed At Budokan into the top 10. The band issued Found All the Parts, an EP containing songs they had recorded between 1976 and 1979, and that was released in the summer of 1980. In the summer of 1980, Peterson departed the group after the recording of the George Martin-produced All Shook Up to start a band with his wife, Dagmar. John Brandt took over in his place, and All Shook Up, which was released around the end of 1980, had a respectable performance. It peaked at number 24 and went gold, but the single Stop This Game fell short of the top 40. The group's 7th album, One on One, which was also Brandt's debut, was released in 1982. The song was more popular than All Shook Up, even though it only reached number 39, eventually earning platinum. Even while the band's music was becoming more refined, its commercial fortunes were beginning to decline. The 1983 song Next Position Please only spent 11 weeks on the charts without becoming a smash single. Similar outcomes befell Standing on the Edge from 1985 and The Doctor from 1986, as the group was gradually losing its innovative edge. When Peterson returned to the group in 1988, the group started writing a new album with the assistance of numerous seasoned songwriters. Lap of Luxury, the ensuing album, peaked at number 1 for the power ballad The Flame, and reached number 10 for an Elvis Presley cover of Don't Be Cruel. The group's 1999 album Busted, which peaked at number 48, ended their commercial return, and it wasn't as popular as Lap of Luxury. By signing with Warner Brothers in 1994 and releasing Woke Up With a Monster, which peaked at number 123 and spent 2 weeks on the album chart, Cheap Trick successfully ushered in the new era. Budokan's follow-up, appropriately titled Budokan 2, was released by Epic in the same year. The album, which was compiled from the same performances as at Budokan, was a useful reminder of why the group had been so well known in the late 1970s. After Lenny Waronker and Mo Austin, the label's chief executives left, Cheap Trick asked to leave Warner's roster in 1995. The group then decided to return to their roots, and several alternative rock luminaries who had been influenced by Cheap Trick gave them the chance to redeem themselves. They opened up for the Smashing Pumpkins on their 1995 tour, and they took part in a number of the 1996 Lollapalooza tour events. The band signed with the indie label Red Ant and began production on a new album the same year. The box set Sex America Cheap Trick was released to positive acclaim. The band debuted for Sub Pop with a single that was recorded by Steve Albini early in 1997, and in the spring they released the critically praised Cheap Trick, their first record for Red Ant. 7 weeks after the album's release, Red Ant regrettably filed for bankruptcy, abruptly stopping the band's upward trend. The band began a 4-night engagement in Chicago on April 30th, 1998, dedicating each performance to performing one of their first 4 albums in its entirety. The musicians eventually released a live album called Music for Hangovers in 1999 on their own Cheap Trick Unlimited label. In 2000, a band-approved hits compilation came next. Cheap Trick was still without a label at the start of the new century, but had managed to hold on to its devoted fanbase by relentlessly traveling the globe. In 2001, another live set was released, which was appropriate. The double-disc album Silver and companion DVD captured the band's star-studded 25th anniversary performance on August 28, 1999. Another studio album by the group titled Special One was released in 2003. The band's hometown theme song Rockford was released in 2006, and the latest followed in 2009. In addition, Cheap Trick continued to tour extensively, traveling the country that summer with Def Leppard and recording Sgt. Pepper Live, which was their tribute to the Beatles. In 2010, Cheap Trick announced that Carlos had left the group and had stopped traveling and recording with them. Carlos claims that Xander and he fell out just before the band appeared on the Austin City Limits television show. The band stopped communicating with Carlos in 2012 and stopped sending him money. In his lawsuit, he demanded damages and back pay of at least $600,000, and in 2023 dollars, that would be $700,000. Xander announced that the litigation had been resolved on February 26, 2015. Cheap Trick inked a record deal with Big Machine Records in the latter part of 2015 and their debut album for their new sponsors, Bang Zoom Crazy. The band's album Hello was published in April 2016, the same month they were honored by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Following the departure of drummer Bunny Carlos, it was the first Cheap Trick album to be released without him. In 2010, Rick Nielsen's son Dax Nielsen took over as the group's new percussionist. They wasted no time in making their triumphant We're All Right, their second album for Big Machine, available in June 2017. When they returned in October 2017 with their debut holiday album, Christmas Christmas, they had hardly had time to catch their breath. The group returned in 2021 with a studio album after having spent a significant amount of time performing on every stage that would have them. Nielsen and Xander sang with the fervor of guys much younger on In Another World, which brought back memories of early records. The 2022 vintage CD Live at the Whiskey 1977 featured a far earlier iteration of the band in all of its strutting magnificence. The 4 complete live performances, which were captured when the band was working on In Color, reveals a boisterous, guitar-heavy side of the band that isn't represented in their studio albums. The band had just ended a tour of the United States when it was released towards the end of 2022. And speaking of that, I was lucky enough to see them live just a few months ago in September 2022. And I've gotta say, they put on a pretty good show. And if you're a hardcore Cheap Trick fan, I would definitely recommend seeing them. And even if you like mainly their hit songs, I would recommend seeing them. But be aware they do a lot of obscure songs along with their few main hits as well. But they're a great live band. And as of 2023, they're still alive and well and they're still performing. And that's what happened to Cheap Trick. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And let me know who should I do next on this channel. And give me some facts about Cheap Trick that I failed to mention. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.